the sexiest man alive.
I love Brad Pitt. I've loved you since my freshman year of high school, and I want to meet you so bad.
Now, most movie stars have their obsessed fans, but few have devotees who also break into their homes, sleep in their beds, and try on their clothes.
The strangest thing is suddenly being looked at and watched and judged in a way.
You're just really nice to look at and to look into your eyes.
I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. You're putting yourself in that ring. I just didn't think that far ahead.
I think he's got a really cute nose. It's so cute.
I found it very discombobulating. I was very, very uncomfortable with the focus.
You look too skinny, though. You're always looking too skinny.
You say that every time.
Have you fought against that pretty boy tag, the sex symbol stuff, or do you embrace it?
I think one of the lovely things about where I grew up is it's considered great hubris to talk about yourself.
Back with another one of those block rockin' beats.
What's the secret to being the sexiest man alive?
Man, if I knew. Listen, I don't know how that happened, that debacle. But I'm sure it's all evil. And I try to stay away from it.
He gained widespread attention as a swindling drifter J.D. in Thelma and Louise.
Ladies, gentlemen, let's see who wins the prize for keeping their cool. Simon says, everybody down on the floor.
Since 1991 and his success in Thelma and Louise, at least 3 paparazzi cars are parked day and night in front of his house.
Brad just came up with the casting session, and Lou DeJimo and I, Lou was casting for me, and he was it, really, instantly. There was no second thoughts about that.
Did you get married real young, Miss Thelma?
I thought the script was so great, and that was the start. I don't want to take anything away from Callie. I was really impressed with the script.
Are you a criminal? No, not no more, Thelma.
I know, Brad, that you're from Shawnee, Oklahoma.
But I appreciate your time. You all have a good day, all right?
So you didn't have to go to school for the accent in Thelma and Louise.
No, I had quite a few buddies who spoke like that.
Shit twice and fall back in. Yeah. What'd I do? Nothing, that's...
But I suppose if you had to turn on the King's English, being a good actor that you are, you could do that.
Well, we'll find out in the future, I would think.
You so far haven't had to do it.
Nope, not yet.
Do you have any problem with the love scene?
My mom did. I don't. They cut out a few shots.
Like your wife.
I think it's the best film all summer.
What did it do for you, that movie?
Well, it opened the doors for me, and half this business is the lotto. There's a lot of talented people out there. But Ridley Scott giving me that shot with Gina opened the door, let me in the game, that put me in the ring.
Did that start the fame game, too?
I guess to some degree.
You went from being an actor trying to get a job to a superstar.
Oh, I don't know.
The thing that you say about your character is what is true of most of the characters, the signature characters that Robert Redford has played. Great surface, hollow inside. This great look, this handsome all-American look, and hollow inside.
I'm not sure it's an area I really want to get into, actually.
Was it the phrase, the all-American great looks? Is that what made you shut off?
Listen, I get very uncomfortable with the whole looks conversation because it's true that looks do open doors, They don't keep you in the room, but they open doors. And when I think of opportunity and the people who don't get the opportunity quite as easily, I wrestle with that one a bit. It was something I asked my mom when I was little, because you see the people aren't treated the same. You see it, and you know it. Be more responsible with it. Make sure you're paying attention, I think. She was trying to say to me, and don't take advantage of it. I came out from the Ozarks. It's Mark Twain country. It's Jesse James country. A lot of hills, a lot of lakes.
I got a younger brother, younger sister. My dad was a pretty cool customer, and I think I absorb it a lot. I see it in my roles. I'm either doing him or I'm rebelling against him. We grew up Southern Baptist. It was, it was Sunday school and do good and Bible study and daily prayer. I was very curious about the world even at a young age, and I became aware that other nations and other cultures didn't believe the same, and they believed in different religions. And my question is, well, why don't they get to go to heaven then? And the answer was always, well, everyone gets a chance.
You go to University of Missouri.
I wanted to do architecture, but there wasn't an architectural path at Mizzou. But they had the best journalism school. I don't really want to interview people, but I'll design magazines or movie posters.
Do you regret at all? I mean, you were a couple of weeks away from a degree in journalism at Missouri.
I was kind of lamented that movies weren't an option. I'd always loved movies. I met this friend whose dad had a condo in Burbank and said I could stay there for 1 month. I packed up my car. I didn't graduate. I had 2 weeks left, and I moved out to L.A. I get there with, like the cliche goes, with my beat-up Datsun, and I had $275 to my savings. I knew where I wanted to go. I had a direction. I always like those moments of epiphany when you have the next destination. I got the paper, and I found some extra agencies, and the end of that week, I paid my $25 to join up, and I was an extra.
Now, you didn't technically know how to act.
No, and all the mistakes are documented on film.
It's just these new stations are part of how Commissioner Swayzak's wrecking this department.
I had my first film audition. I called them saying, how do I do? And they said, have you ever thought about acting school? So, I had that point where, so I was shit today. Okay.
Well, it's no secret anymore. Brad Pitt's made 2 of the last 5 issues of People magazine. He is what Star magazine calls the hunky new Dallas star.
I used to watch these people. I'm still a little starstruck, to be honest. I was 6 months ago, I was sitting home in Missouri watching these people on TV.
How much insecurity were you working with at that period?
First half of the career, I think, was, a lot of insecurity.
It's just been snowballing like this, and that's what I'm talking about being taken care of, because there's no way that someone in my position, a dork from Missouri who had no training, should be, I don't know, I feel really thankful. Well, unfortunately, a lot of television for me is a fast food fashion show, a lot of it. And it's because of money and time, and I understand it has to be that way, but it gets kind of frustrating. That's me, though. I'm not paying the bills.
You have a lot of scenes on the river, in the river.
Yeah, thank God.
You like that?
Look, I grew up in the Ozarks, so I'm gonna do all right. Better than a soundstage, sure do. I heard Robert Redford was doing a film about 2 brothers in Montana. And it was those 3 elements right there.
Then there was his 1994 Golden Globe-nominated turn in Legends of the Fall, where he played the son of an Army colonel who moves his family into the wilds of Montana.
Legends of the Fall, you're with Anthony Hopkins right out of the gate.
Yeah, it was cool.
When you came here, you had a lot of photographers chasing after you, mobbing your car, stuff like that. How'd you go with that?
I just look at these guys and I go, man, don't you guys have a life?
Is that the downside of being a film star?
Well, I asked for it, so I can't really complain, can I?
Do you know when you grow up and you want to be a film star, you want to work in movies or something like that, and somebody says, Brad Pitt, you're a sex symbol. How do you cope with that?
I don't know what that means, really. Everyone gets that. I get it for the month, okay, I'll have fun with it. Yeah, it's nice, yeah.
I felt early on when I was starting out in a couple of roles that they were kind of plug-in component roles. You could have put any of us in, and it just occurred to me, you got to start telling personal stories. You want to add something to it at the end of the day. I wanted to have had value.
Since then, his focus on diverse characters and his tendency to seek interesting projects has made him one of Hollywood's most interesting actors.
There's been more of a focus in men's roles, I think, in the last decade, a decade and a half, certainly my generation, and more in flawed characters.
7 did what for you?
I had had not such great experiences coming off a couple of jobs, and I just wasn't sure what I was doing. I had the weirdest summer. It hooked me up with David Fincher, who's, I love the guy. He's become a great friend, and I love what he does, and it kind of took me down another road.
It certainly keeps you on the edge of your seat.
But I think it's very honest about it, Bleak, but honest.
You should do a romantic comedy sometime, something sort of light and airy and...
I thought about it. I don't know. Feel it out.
What are you working on now?
I'm working on a thing called the Fight Club.
First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
And tell me about that.
That's David Fincher directing, who directed 7. It's about 2 guys who start this amateur boxing league for underprivileged youth and the woman who comes between them. But we twist it a bit.
If you look at Snatch, it's the same thing, all right? There's just this character and behavior that comes out, and that can't be written.
Fight you for it. You and me.
And he's kind of a genius about that.
The thing is about Brad Pitt, he's very funny, and I don't think anyone's really ever capitalised on that before, but he is a funny bastard, and it is nice to do something where he's not taking himself seriously, and he doesn't take himself seriously, and it's a bit of a piss-take part.
He is no longer the sexiest man in America. We decided he really had to train for this role because his voice didn't have the qualities needed to do it, and Brad worked really hard at this.
12 Monkeys gave him legitimacy that he didn't really have before.
In 1995, Brad Pitt would receive an Oscar nomination for his dramatic turn in the movie 12 Monkeys, a role he would win a Golden Globe for.
Thank you, Hollywood Foreign Press, for this moment of absolute terror.
Marking the beginning of his transformation to superstar.
You make the movies you want to make. You make movies that prove that you have big box office appeal.
I want to be open for the surprises. The best stuff I've ever found have always been surprises, especially in acting and in life. So I want to be open for that. And then, if it doesn't work out so well, I have enough faith that I'll figure it out.
You're also doing Mr. and Miss Smith, is that the title?
Yeah, that's right. That is, I'll be interested to see how this one works, but trying to combine genres of an action, a romantic comedy, a black comedy, but it's this great metaphor for marriage.
Would you do a movie like that with Jenna?
We would have to be careful. We actually talked about it. And you know, you look back at history.
I set it up.
The odds are against couples working together.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion.
You're interesting about this whole fame business. It comes about in part because of craft and skill and experience. It also comes about because it's the nature of the business you're in. It also comes about because of DNA, the way one looks, all of that. Do you shy away from it? Do you accept it and say, it's part of what I am and what I do?
I used to wrestle with it a lot more than I do now. I accept it pretty much. It just became much easier when I gave up on wanting understanding.
And so at some point you come to the place where they're going to take the pictures and they're going to write pretty much stories that they want to write.
My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and I'm putting together a special team. I need me 8 soldiers.
I decide that I actually want Brad for this movie about halfway into the script. Like my first actually start thinking about, well, who could play this character? And I go, oh, well, Brad would be wonderful. So then I just keep writing, and then I'm like, okay, now I can't imagine anybody else but him.
This thing was a gift. It landed in my lap 6 weeks later. We're shooting. You don't want to change a thing. A Tarantino character, you know, we all want to get one of those.
Where Brad's at in his career right now, you know, he wants to work with talented artists that, you know, that stimulate him. Well, he's coming off of Terrence Malick, he's coming off of Coen Brothers, he's coming off of David Fincher. Well, that sounds great. He's not booked up in advance, and actually, the sooner the better would be Brad's situation right now.
Daddy's got to work. Buongiorno.
I wonder where that character came from, the set and the jaw.
I don't know. Those things just emerge, you know? Just you're working on the dialogue and something starts to take shape.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.
He's an interesting figure because he is a movie star with movie star looks and charisma, but not entirely comfortable with it, which is a great thing, and you feel it in the work. In other words, a movie star is confident in being the center of all attention, and that becomes almost like an invariably conflict-free person in your movie. Brad doesn't have that. Brad has a conflict inside of him.
You got a lot of years of acting in you?
I see it happening less. You know, I've said that it's a younger man's game, and I think it is to some extent. Box office appeal, and then, I don't know, I feel a little silly sometimes. I quite like the producing end. I like getting stories out there. We get stories to the table that might not have gotten there.
I think the original intention, which I attribute to Brad, really was to create a harbor, if you will, a safe place for original story, narrative that hasn't been told before.
Brad, I think at this stage in his career is concerned about his legacy, and he wants to wants to use his powers for good, and he's trying to make movies. Him and Dee Dee Gardner are trying to make movies that perhaps otherwise wouldn't get made.
Our early mandate was to work with directors, storytellers, and story that we found complex, complicated, and might need a little help getting over the hill.
We
follow filmmakers that we really respect. And, you know, for a while, there was this period where big budget tentpole films, you know, action films were getting made, and then films under 10 million, if you wanted to do something risky. And there was this whole gap in between. I mean, we first got in just trying to help some of these, you know, these people we believe in get their film to the finish line.
Your next movie, I believe, is 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, it's a beautiful film and something we're very, very proud of. Yeah, that'll be out this fall, directed by Steve McQueen. We're big fans of Steve, and we started talking with him and having discussions about what he wanted to do next. I mean, he asked a big question. Why are there not more films about American slavery? Why hasn't it been more American films? And it was the right question.
The idea was to get the movie far enough down the field so that it was undeniable. And by that I mean already have a screenplay, already have a filmmaker, already have part of it cast. Get it to a point where no one could poke any holes in it.
And the Oscar goes to 12 Years a Slave, Brad Pitt, Didi Gardner, Jeremy Kleiner, Steve McQueen, and Anthony Katagis, producers.
There's been great speculation on your private life, in particular your past high-profile relationships.
You said another intriguing thing, which I admire a lot. I'd love to have lots of kids.
Yeah, I do. I love this idea of all these different personalities bouncing off each other, and they got each other to learn from. And I feel like I'm at the time now where I got something to tell them, so.
Did Angelina Jolie break up your marriage?
No.
Everyone says she's a homewrecker.
It's a good story.
You'd love for it to be all girls.
Well, I'm just going to screw up the guys a little bit, and they're going to be pissed off at me for years, and I'm going to have to go through that. But just a sucker for the girls.
I forget how just stupid the world is around and about Brad. I guess because I know how uncomfortable it makes him, I guess I just sort of hope that it's receding or in some way diminishing, because it certainly doesn't make his life any easier or any more enjoyable.
I can tell you when I'm being shot and I can't see it, when I'm being shot with the lens. I just get this feeling. I can recognize it now. It's fine-tuned.
Did you ever think that at some time in the future that the world would be watching your every move, that they'd be interested in your every step? Was that your quest?
I don't think the world is that interested. I think it sells some publications.
When you, if you ever, first accepted or realised that you were being treated like a superstar, even if it was as a commodity to sell magazines, how did you deal with that fame?
I didn't deal with it very well for good 10 years or 7 years. I didn't know what to do with it. I found it very discombobulating. I didn't think that far ahead. You know, I love films, so I want to be a part of films. Call out my kids by names and shove cameras in their faces, and I really believe there should be laws against that. I mean, my kids believe that anytime you go outside the house, that there's just a wall of photographers or people that take your picture. That is their view of the world. And I worry about the effect that'll have on them, but we'll do our best. Listen, it's a very strange thing to be selling photos of something that's very intimate and personal, and those of which you want to protect.
So when you say you didn't do too well with it, I mean, what happened? How did you lead your life?
I hid. You know, I just started sequestering myself in a way that I got rather sick of.
Is a split heard around the world.
Angelina Jolie filed for divorce from Brad Pitt,
leaving everyone totally stunned. The Hollywood power couple and the surprise split.
Angelina has requested full physical custody, which means all 6 kids would live with her.
You know, it seems universal that we all carry great pains, great feelings of loneliness, regrets. Breakup of a family is certainly an eye-opener that I had to understand my own culpability in that. And what can I do better? Because I don't want to go on like this. We seem to be a culture where we will impugn someone for their missteps, but we don't value what is the next move. And the next move, to me, really defines the character of the individual. Listen, someone told me you'll never be ready for birth, marriage, death, and fame. So, I don't know.
So, Rick, explain to the audience exactly what it is a stunt double does.
Well, actors are required to do a lot of dangerous stuff. Say Jake Cahill gets shot off his horse. Now, can I fall off a horse? Yes, I can. Yes, I have. Cliff here is meant to help carry the load.
Is that how you describe your job, Cliff?
What, carrying his load? Yeah, it's about right.
You play a stuntman.
They come from this era when an actor and a stuntman had a greater partnership and had more say on what was going to be in the film. We're on the tail end. I say we because I'm on his coattails.
It's official, old buddy. I'm a has-been.
I have a job if Rick Dalton has a job. And if Rick Dalton doesn't have a job, I probably don't. I see my dad.
Hey! You're Rick fucking Dalton. Don't you forget it.
I'm in the movie. I'm Sharon Tate.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
I really believe in accepting where we are and dealing with what we're given, and I've been very fortunate. And also, I still have my challenges, and I just really believe in embracing and finding the acceptance in whatever the day brings you.
The countdown is on for one of the biggest nights in Hollywood. Hundreds of production crew members have been busy preparing for this year's Academy Awards.
I think that the best thing about this movie is Brad Pitt.
I don't make movies for people that just kind of passively sit there and let the images glaze over them. I want them to respond.
Brad Pitt is on a roll, but he's got some tough competition there for supporting actor.
This one's Brad Pitt's to lose.
And the Oscar goes to Brad Pitt.
I'm a big gobsmacked. I'm not one to look back, but this has made me do so, and I think of my folks taking me to the drive-in to see Butch and Sundance, and loading up my car and moving out here, and Gina and Ridley giving me my first shot, to all the wonderful people I've met along the way, to stand here now. Once upon a time in Hollywood, ain't that the truth? I get a call from Joe. He's got this idea. This mapping technology that he discovered on Top Gun Maverick, mapping in the planes, he has this idea he can do this with the cars, on the track, Formula One cars.
Mysterious moves at Apex GP, who have finally announced the driver who will take their second seat. And in a bizarre twist, it's American Sonny Hayes.
Dude, this is unprecedented. I just could not believe you could take corners at these speeds and the car would stick.
You gave up racing, gambled professionally, before declaring yourself personally bankrupt. You had a marriage annulled, and 2 more ended in divorce. Anything you wish you'd done differently?
I was pretty much on my back, on my knees, and I was really I was trying anything and everyone. I know if I like the work I'm putting out there, if I like the stories, that it's gonna speak to someone. I'm not gonna speak to everyone, but I know it's gonna speak to someone else too, and I have total confidence and faith in that. I don't think about perception much anymore. I believe in what I'm doing, I understand my craft, I feel like I elevate the jobs I'm in, and I make sure I do, and I put the work in, I work hard.
What truly shapes an individual more than what they've succeeded at is what they failed at and how they've made adjustments from there.
You said I'm not a big proponent of happiness.
I think happiness is overrated, truthfully. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not. There's too much pressure to be happy.